The forest swallowed the sound of my heartbeat, but it couldn't silence the scream that tore through me when I saw Ethan's eyes, wild, unguarded, and fixed on me like I was the only thing left in the world. I'd come to these Oregon woods expecting a simple hunting trip with my son's friend, a chance to bond over shared silence and the thrill of the chase. Instead, I was the one caught, my life unraveling in ways I never imagined. My name is Brandon, 38, a single dad who spent the last decade raising my son, Caleb, in a quiet Portland suburb. I'm no stranger to hard work. Carpentry keeps my hands busy and my mind steady, but nothing prepared me for the storm Ethan brought into my life. Caleb, now 20 and off at college, had always spoken highly of Ethan, his high school buddy who'd stayed close even after graduation. "Dad, he's a good guy," Caleb said when he suggested I take Ethan hunting this fall. "He's been through some stuff. Could use a friend." I didn't think twice. I packed my rifle, my thermos, and a heart open to helping a kid who seemed lost. The method down, the air crisp and heavy with pine. Ethan, 27, stepped out of his beat-up Jeep, all sharp cheekbones and quiet intensity. He was beautiful in a way that hit me like a punch, lean, athletic, with warm brown eyes that seemed to see right through me. His navy jacket hugged his frame, and his khakis were just snug enough to hint at the strength beneath. I shook his hand, ignoring the jolt that ran through me. "Get it together, Brandon," I thought. I'd buried those feelings long ago, back when I was a teenager sneaking glances at boys in the locker room, before life and responsibility locked them away. The trail stretched ahead, a winding path through towering evergreens. Ethan carried his rifle with ease, his movements fluid, like he belonged here more than I did. We talked about small things at first, hunting spots, Caleb's college stories, the way the forest smelled like rain and secrets. But there was an edge to Ethan's voice, a hunger I couldn't place. "You ever feel like you're running from something out here, Brandon?" he asked, his gaze flickering to me. I laughed it off, but my pulse quickened. The forest felt too quiet, like it was holding its breath. By noon, we'd set up a small camp in a clearing, the kind of place where sunlight spills through the canopy and makes everything look like a painting. Ethan dropped his pack and turned to me, his eyes softer now, almost vulnerable. "I didn't come out here just to hunt," he said, stepping closer. My breath caught as his hand brushed mine, a deliberate touch that sent heat racing up my arm. "Brandon, I've been watching you for years. Caleb's dad, the guy who's got it all together. But I see you. The real you." I froze. The air between us crackled, and every instinct screamed to step back, to laugh it off, to pretend I didn't feel the pull. But I did. God help me. I did. "Ethan, I don't," my words stumbled, weak against the truth. I'd spent years denying this part of myself, convincing myself it was safer to stay alone, to be the dad Caleb needed. Ethan's hand lingered, his fingers curling around mine. "You don't have to hide with me," he whispered. The moment stretched, fragile and electric. I could have pulled away. I should have. But when Ethan leaned in, his lips brushing mine, the world tilted. It wasn't just a kiss. It was a key turning in a lock I'd forgotten existed. His touch was fire, and I was burning, every buried desire rushing to the surface. The forest stood witness, silent and ancient, as I let myself fall. But nothing this beautiful comes without a cost. Ethan had secrets, ones that would drag us both into a storm I wasn't ready for. As we broke apart, breathless, I saw something flicker in his eyes, fear, maybe, or guilt. "There's something you need to know," he said, his voice low, "about why I'm really here." The clearing felt smaller now, the sunlight colder. Ethan's words hung between us, heavy as the rifle I'd set down. "What do you mean? Why you're here?" I asked, my voice sharper than I intended. My lips still tingled from his kiss, but doubt crept in, coiling around my chest. Ethan ran a hand through his dark hair, his eyes darting to the trees like he expected someone to step out of them. "I didn't plan this," he said, pacing a step. "Not that you know." The kiss. That was real. "But I came out here because I'm in trouble. Brandon. Big trouble." His voice cracked, and for the first time, I saw the weight he'd been carrying. Not just a kid with a crush, but a man running from something dark. "Trouble." I stepped closer, instincts kicking in. I'd raised Caleb through fevers and heartbreak. I knew how to fix things. Or so I thought. "Ethan, talk to me. What's going on?" He hesitated, then sat on a fallen log, his shoulders slumping. "It's my brother, Lucas. He got mixed up with some bad people in Seattle. Loan sharks. Dealers. I don't even know the full scope. He owed them money, tens of thousands. When he couldn't pay, they came after me, his hands clenched into fists. I thought I could handle it, pay them off bit by bit. But they're not patient. Brandon. They know where I live. They know about Caleb. And now they know about you." My stomach dropped. "Me? How the hell do they know about me?" Ethan's eyes met mine, raw with guilt. "I mentioned you once. Just once. When I was trying to buy time. I said I was staying with a friend, someone who could help. I didn't think they'd dig deeper, but they did. They've been watching me. Us." He swallowed hard. "They think you've got money. Brandon. Your business. Your house. They think you're loaded." I laughed, bitter and sharp. "Loaded? I'm a carpenter. Ethan. I got a mortgage and a kid in college." I'm not exactly hiding a vault, but the fear in his eyes told me these people didn't care about the truth. I sank onto the log beside him, the weight of his words sinking in. "So what do they want?" "They want me to get the money. Fast. Or they'll hurt the people I care about." His voice broke on the last word, and his hand reached for mine again, trembling. "I didn't mean to drag you into this. I've always felt safe with you. Even back when I was just Caleb's friend, crashing at your place for game nights. You were this anchor. And when I saw a chance to be close to you, I took it." His confession hit me harder than the kiss. I'd spent so long building walls, convincing myself I didn't need anyone, that I'd missed the way Ethan had been orbiting my life. But now wasn't the time for feelings. Not with danger circling us like wolves. "Okay," I said, forcing my voice steady. "We'll figure this out. But you need to tell me everything. No more secrets." Ethan nodded, relief flickering across his face. He started talking about Lucas's debts, the threats, the men who'd been tailing him. Every word tightened the knot in my gut. These weren't just petty thugs. They were organized, ruthless. And they thought I was their ticket to a payout. As the sun dipped lower, casting long shadows across the clearing. I made a decision. "We're not running," I said. "Not yet. We'll go back to my place, get Caleb somewhere safe, and deal with this together." Ethan looked at me, his eyes wide with something like awe. "You don't have to do this," he said softly. "Yeah, I do." I stood, offering him my hand. "You're not just Caleb's friend anymore." Back at my house, the familiar creak of the front door felt like a warning. The cozy living room, with its worn leather couch and framed photos of Caleb, seemed too small to hold the danger Ethan had described. I called Caleb first, telling him to stay at his dorm and avoid coming home for a few days. He protested, but I shut him down. "Just trust me, kid," I said, my voice rougher than I meant. Ethan stood by the window, scanning the street. "They could be out there," he muttered. "They've got a guy, Marcus, who's good at staying invisible." I joined him, my hand resting on his shoulder, grounding us both. The street looked normal, kids on bikes, a neighbor walking her dog, but I couldn't shake the feeling we were being watched. "We need a plan," I said. "You said they want money." "How much?" "50 grand, Ethan said, wincing. "By next week. Or they start hurting people." I cursed under my breath. My savings wouldn't cover half that, and selling my truck or tools wouldn't get us close. "What about the police?" I asked. Ethan shook his head. "Lucas tried that. They've got connections. Cops look the other way. Or worse, tip them off." He turned to me, his eyes pleading. "I've got some cash stashed, maybe 10 grand. It's not enough, but it's a start. I just need time to get the rest." Time. The one thing we didn't have. I paced the room, my mind racing. I wasn't a hero, just a guy who fixed things, broken tables, leaky roofs, my son's scraped knees. But this was bigger than me. Yet looking at Ethan, his face pale but resolute, I knew I couldn't walk away. Not from him. "All right," I said. "We'll use your cash as a down payment. Buy some time. Then we figure out how to get these guys off your back for good." I didn't know how we'd do it, but the determination in Ethan's eyes mirrored my own. We were in this together, whether I liked it or not. That night, we sat on the couch, closer than we should have been, planning. Ethan's hand rested on my knee, a quiet anchor in the chaos. "I'm sorry," he said again, his voice barely above a whisper. "I didn't want to pull you into my mess." I tilted his chin up, meeting his gaze. "You didn't pull me anywhere. I'm here because I want to be." And then I kissed him, harder this time, pouring every ounce of fear and hope into it. The world outside could wait. For now, it was just us. The next morning, we drove to Ethan's apartment to grab his stash cash. The place was a small studio in a rough part of town, cluttered with books and gym equipment. Ethan pulled a locked box from under his bed, his hands shaking as he counted out the bills. "This is everything I've got," he said, stuffing the cash into a backpack. "It's not much, but it might keep them off us for a week." As we stepped outside, a black SUV slowed across the street. My heart thudded. "Ethan," I hissed, grabbing his arm. He followed my gaze, his face paling. "That's them," he whispered. "Marcus." The SUV idled, its tinted windows hiding whoever was inside. I pushed Ethan toward my truck, my pulse racing. "Get in." Now, we peeled out, the SUV trailing us for a few blocks before vanishing. My hands gripped the wheel, knuckles white. "They're playing with us," I said, letting us know they're watching. Ethan nodded, his jaw tight. "They want me scared. It's how they control people." But he didn't look scared. He looked angry, like a fire had been lit inside him. I admired that fire, even if it scared me. Back at my place, we spread the cash on the kitchen table, counting it twice. $10,000, crisp and real. "We need to meet them," Ethan said. "Set up a drop. Show them we're serious." I didn't like it, but he was right. Running wasn't an option, and hiding would only delay the inevitable. We arranged the meet for the next night, in an empty lot near the river. Ethan knew the spot, secluded, but not so remote we'd be trapped. "Marcus will be there," he said. "Maybe others. They'll want the money, but they'll also want to send a message." I didn't sleep that night. Ethan stayed close, his warmth a reminder of what we were fighting for. "If this goes wrong," he said, his voice soft in the dark, "I want you to know you're the best thing that's happened to me in a long time." I pulled him closer, my lips brushing his forehead. "We're not losing this," I said. "Not them, not us." But as I held him, I couldn't shake the feeling that the forest had only been the beginning. The lot was a graveyard of broken concrete and rusted chain link. The rivers hum a low backdrop to the tension. Ethan and I stood by my truck, the backpack heavy with cash at my feet. Marcus stepped out of the shadows, a wiry man with cold eyes and a scar across his cheek. Two others flanked him, their faces unreadable. "You got the money?" Marcus asked, his voice flat. Ethan handed over the bag, his movement steady. 10 grand. It's a start. I'll get the rest soon." Marcus opened the bag, glancing at the cash before tossing it to one of his men. "Cute," he said, smirking. "You think this buys you time? You're in deeper than you know." "Kid," I stepped forward, my voice low. "He's not alone in this. You want more? You deal with both of us." Marcus's eyes flicked to me, sizing me up. "The carpenter," he said, like he knew more about me than I wanted. "You're an over-your-head man. Walk away." "No," I said, my voice steady despite the fear clawing at me. "This ends when you leave him alone." Marcus laughed, a sound like gravel. "Big talk. But you don't get it. This isn't about money anymore. It's about respect." He stepped closer, his hand brushing the gun at his hip. My heart pounded, but I didn't move. Ethan's hand grazed mine, a silent promise. Then it happened fast. One of Marcus's men lunged, aiming for Ethan. I reacted on instinct, shoving Ethan behind me and swinging. My fist connected with the man's jaw, sending him stumbling. Marcus drew his gun, but Ethan was faster, tackling him to the ground. The third man hesitated, and I grabbed the backpack, swinging it at his head. He went down, groaning. "Run!" I shouted, pulling Ethan toward the truck. We scrambled inside, my hands shaking as I started the engine. Gunshots cracked behind us, but the tires screeched, and we were gone, the river fading in the rear view. We didn't stop driving until we hit a motel an hour outside Portland, the kind of place that didn't ask questions. Ethan's hands were still trembling, but his eyes were bright, alive. "You were incredible back there," he said, a small smile breaking through. I laughed, adrenaline still coursing through me. I was terrified, I admitted. But I wasn't letting them take you. We collapsed onto the motel bed, the weight of the night settling over us. Ethan's hand found mine, his touch grounding me. We can't keep running, he said. They'll find us. We need to end this. I nodded, my mind already turning. We will. But not tonight. I pulled him close, our lips meeting in a kiss that tasted like freedom and fear. The world outside could wait. For now, we had each other. The next morning, we made a plan. Ethan knew someone, a former friend of Lucas's, a hacker named Riley who could dig into Marcus's operation. If we can find dirt on them, something to leverage, we can turn the tables, Ethan said. I wasn't sure it would work, but it was better than waiting for Marcus to come for us. Riley met us in a diner, a lanky guy with nervous energy and a laptop covered in stickers. Marcus is bad news, he said, typing furiously. But he's not untouchable. Give me a day, and I'll find something. We left him to it, heading back to the motel to lay low. That night, Ethan opened up more, telling me about his life, growing up in a small town, hiding who he was, finding solace in books and the woods. I knew I was gay since I was a kid, he said, his voice soft. But I never thought I'd find someone like you. Someone who gets it. I told him about my own past, the feelings I'd buried, the fear of letting anyone in. You're changing that, I said, my hand cupping his face. You're worth the risk. Riley came through the next day, emailing us a file with enough evidence to bury Marcus, bank records, names, proof of their dealings. This could get them locked up, Ethan said, his voice trembling with hope. We contacted a lawyer, someone Caleb knew from college, and set things in motion. A week later, Marcus and his crew were arrested, the evidence too damning to ignore. Ethan and I stood outside the courthouse, the weight of it all finally lifting. It's over, he said, his hand slipping into mine. I looked at him, the man who'd turned my world upside down, and smiled. No, I said. It's just beginning. We walked away together. The future uncertain, but ours to shape. The forest had brought us together, and though its shadows had nearly torn us apart, we'd emerged stronger. For the first time in years, I felt alive, not just a dad, not just a carpenter, but a man who'd found love in the most unexpected place.